Plotting a heat map in House Studio. Now, there are different ways you can plot a heat map in House Studio. Heat map shows the relationship among your data sets in ARM. Just as we have different type of map, we have the graph, we have the line chart, we have the different types of charts. Also, we have what we call the heat map. The heat map shows the relationship among the data set in R, especially when you want to see relationship among more than two data sets in R. So we can use the heat map to show that relationship among the data set. So first and foremost, we are going to use the ggcorrplot. Now there are different types of package you can use, but in this particular tutorial, I'm going to use the ggcorrplot. So we're going to install the ggcorrplot into our without wasting of time. We're going to install that into our the ggcorrplot. Then install this into our. Now once we install the ggcorrplot into our, the next thing we have to activate that using the library function. Now bringing the library function X to activate that. Now the ggcorrplot I've already installed that in my ARM. I already installed that in my ARM, but it's not activated. So either I click on this checkbox to activate it, or I run this particular line of code to activate the ggplot in data. So that activates it. Now next I'm going to import my dataset into my dataset is located in an SPSS file, so I'm going to import that in out. So I'm going to use the read. First and foremost, let me give it a name. Let's call it car sales 4. Now importing the dataset. The read underscore X. I can either use this or I use the other one. And then let's do the car sales. Now this is a file I want to import into XPSS, and this actually is a file I want to import. Now the extension is .xlxx. So I'm going to import this particular dataset in R. So now I've imported that in R. You can see my dataset already imported in R. Now you can see that in R. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, let's display this function in ggcorrplot. If we want to know more about a particular function in R, you can just use the question mark and you run this particular line of code. It displays more about that particular function in our now visualization of correlation matrix. Now the ggplot2. Now it's telling us that it's a part of ggplot2. Now the ggcorrplot, a graphical display of the correlation matrix using ggplot2. So in other words, before you can install the ggcorrplot, you must first and foremost install the ggplot2 first and foremost. So because I've already installed this in my XPSS, in my house studio, so that's the reason I did install. So you want to install the ggcorrplot without installing this first. It's going to tell you to install the ggplot2 first and foremost. So it's going, house studio is going to tell you to install this first before you can go ahead to install this. So you have to install this first before you install the ggcorrplot. Okay, now we can see the various arguments. That the first argument is the correlation matrix. So now I have this data set. Now I'm only interested in some of the variables in my data set. I'm interested in the sales, I'm interested in the engine size, and also I'm interested in the fuel efficiency. Okay. Now I'm going to select that data set first and foremost before I'll be able to run that. Now, if I want to display the function, let's leave that. In order to do that, let's take the car sales 4. That's the name of my data set. Now I'm going to pass in the pipe function. I'm going to pass in the pipe function, and I'm going to use the select function. Now that select function. So on the select function, what do we want to select? We want to select the MPG. Okay, we want to select the MPG. Also, we are also interested in select the sales, and then we also want to select the engine size. Okay, now I'm going to run those three data sets. Fine. Now, in order to do this, now for me to run my heat map, I'll first and foremost get the correlation matrix, because this is telling me correlation. Now you can see CORR. What's the CORR? Once you go to, it's telling you the correlation matrix to visualize. So the ggcorrplot helps to visualize the correlation matrix of your dataset. So I'm going to use the COR function to visualize the correlation matrix. Now, first and foremost, let me save this in an object. Okay, I'm going to save this in an object, heat map, isn't it? Let's say car sales heat map. Okay, let's call that. So I'm going to run this line of code now. When I run this line of code, then I look for the correlation matrix. I'm going to run this correlation matrix. That's what I'm going to use. So fine, but I don't actually need to run the correlation matrix before using that for the ggplot. Now, I'll now use my ggplot function. All is just saying it needs the correlation matrix. So I'm going to pick this. I don't need to run it before using it. Okay. Now the next argument I have here, is the method. What is the method that I want to use in running the ggcorrplot? But if I don't use the method and I decide to run the ggcorrplot, Express is going to use the default, which is the square. Square is the first. It's going to run that using the default there to run that. Okay. Let's bring in the. Okay, we bring that. Okay, there is comma. Then we have the method. Now the method here is the square by default. Okay, so let's run that and let's see. Okay, now it's not coming up. Oh, let me activate the GG plot. Okay, now GG plot is already activated. It's already activated. And why am I? Checkbox is already activated and it's not coming up. I'm coming in. Let's see why is not coming up. And let's go back to this. Okay, we have the GT core plot. Sorry, the name we are using here is the GG core plot. Okay. Okay, if the name is spelled correctly. Okay, now let's run this again. Now you can see the correlation matrix between the fuel efficiency, the seal of the car, and the engine size. So you can see the color tells us that the color here is one, almost one. So when you see the color, that's fuel efficiency, correlation between fuel efficiency and fuel efficiency, correlation between fuel efficiency and sales are very good. Now this is what I'm interested in. I want to see the connection between the sales of the vehicle and the fuel efficiency and engine size. So I'm interested in the off diagonal. So I'm interested in this, and also I'm interested in this. So we can see the right is almost zero. It's telling you that the correlation between this fuel efficiency and the sales of the vehicle and the fuel efficiency is almost zero, and that in the size is almost zero. Okay, now I can talk about method, and we can talk about method here. Now we can decide to include a method in correlation analysis. Now we could decide to include a method by default. I'll make use of the square. We could decide to set when we want it to be circle instead of a square. We could turn this to a circle. Okay, have you seen that? And we run this line of code. Now you can see so sales and the fuel efficiency you can see is white circle, and that on the side is white circle. You can see white is almost zero here, so that's to say that the correlation coefficient. Okay, now let's go back to we can see to add alternative method. Now when you go to argument, we have type. You can have type also. We can add type. We can have title. We can have the show legend. That's what we just did, and a lot of arguments here. So let's just pick one or two more, and we'll stop there. So let's see the type. We can add the type. Now by default, I'll use the full. Uh, by default, I'll make use of the full. So we can say, okay, don't use the full, use lower. So let's see what R will give us with the lower. So we're telling R don't make use of the full and rather use the lower. So once we look at this and run that particular line of code, you can see how using the lower. But now for you to see this lower very well, you can see only one part is being colored, the other parts are not colored. But for you to see it very well, let's change it to a square. Now changing this to a square will help you understand the relationship. Now you can see only the square, the lower part of the square is being highlighted. Now you can see the upper part is not. Then if you want to see that for the upper part, you just type the upper and you run that particular line of code. Run this particular line of code that gives you the upper part. And if you want the full, all what you need to do is to do the full and you run that particular line of code. That gives you for the full. So if you need more of this, now for instance, if you need more for the title or the show dot legend, if you want the legend to show, you can click on that. Now what is the show dot legend? And let's go down to the see the meaning of that. Show dot legend logically, if true, the legend is displayed. Now if it's true, the legend will be displayed. Now here if the legend is displayed by default, so the moment you make it false, that's true. Now the moment you make this to be false, the legend would not be displayed. So you run that and you can see the legend is no longer displayed. Why? Because we changed that to false. So you don't want the legend. All you need to do is to use the show.legend, and you make that to be false. And let's see the other what again we can use. I think there are a lot we can use here. Legend.title, you can asking for the legend title, lower triangle, upper triangle, legend.title. Now that is to give title to the legend. Legend.title by default app is using the CORR. As you can see, CORR. We can change that. If you don't want that to be that CORR, you can call that the correlation scale. You can see call that correlation skill. Okay, let's call that correlation skill. Okay, that is correlation metric skill. Now you run that. That is it, correlation skill. So this is how to run the heat map to show the relationship among your data sets using the ggcorrplot function. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to my Instagram channel, my Facebook channel, and my TikTok channel. See you next time.